Hello and welcome to this presentation of Collecting Perfume Bottles 101, presented to you by the International Perfume Bottle Association. If you'd like to know more about our organization, you can find us at perfumebottles.org. The International Perfume Bottle Association is a not-for-profit group organized in 1988, comprised of like-minded people who collect and deal in a variety of beautiful perfume containers. Perfume has the ability to transport the mind over years and miles. Just a whiff of an old familiar scent can stir up a long-forgotten memory or a moment frozen in time. Will you ever forget the fragrance your mother wore or a scent of a first love? Perfume is a very personal thing, and so are the bottles made to hold the perfume. They were very precious and personal to their original owners, as they are to those of us who enjoy collecting them today. Perfume and perfume containers have a long history going back to ancient times, before most people would even imagine. However, in those early years, until about the late 1700s, this precious commodity called perfume, and the bottles that held it, were made and used primarily by royalty, the very wealthy, and high-ranking church officials. Those who created perfume and those who created the wonderful bottles to hold them were commissioned and paid by wealthy overseers. There really wasn't a merchant or manufacturing system at that time where one could go and buy a fabulous bottle. When industrialization in the mid-19th century started, increased production of perfumes and perfume bottles became more affordable and available to the general public. Perfume bottles collectors tend to focus in one of two areas: non-commercial bottles or commercial bottles. A non-commercial bottle is one that was created or manufactured by a company that had nothing to do with perfume. The bottle was created as an object to hold the perfume, but it was left to the owner to fill it with a fragrance. The bottle owner would go to an apothecary or druggist who would mix a fragrance to put into the bottle. On the other hand, a commercial bottle is defined as a bottle sold with the perfume in it. It is made by fragrance or a cosmetic company and usually has a label that tells the name of the perfume and the fragrance company. Most perfume bottles are made of glass, but a small percentage are made of other materials such as porcelain and silver. Generally, a perfume bottle has two parts: a bottle or base, which contains the fragrance, and a stopper that holds the perfume in. In most cases, the bottle and the stopper are made of the same material. The stopper should fit securely into the neck of the bottle, and the bottle and the stopper should be in harmony. By harmony, I mean it should look like they belong together. Sometimes bottles and stoppers get mismatched, which is what collectors refer to as a marriage. A manufactured commercial bottle sold with the fragrance in it may also contain a third part, a decorative label, and if luck is on your side, you may even find a matching box. There are beautiful and affordable bottles in every category. Perfume bottles can be very decorative and displayed in many ways. This photo shows a decorative bathroom display. Some bottles are historical. The left photo shows a presentation related to the 1939 New York World's Fair. To the right is a bottle called Forward March Perfume, which is a World War II commemorative from 1941. And this historical bottle shows the Spirit of St. Louis airplane on its label. The perfume is called the Spirit of St. Louis and is made to commemorate Lindbergh's crossing of the Atlantic. Many have interesting or unique designs, and some bottles are novel and quirky. Any type of collection, no matter if you're talking about humble figures, bakelite jewelry, or fountain pens, is a reflection of the owner's individual taste. No two collectors are alike, even if two people are collecting within the same category. This is especially true in collecting perfume bottles because there is such a wide variety available to collect in every perfume bottle category. Some collectors want certain colors of glass, for example, these beautiful green bottles. Someone else might want to collect and display bottles of blue. Another collector might be interested in collecting certain glass houses, such as Lalique or Baccarat. A collector of commercial perfume bottles may want bottles created by a particular well-known designer like Lalique, or they may choose to collect bottles from one particular fragrance and fragrance company, such as Evening in Paris by Bourjois. There are some collectors of very early bottles who specialize in those made of materials other than glass, such as porcelain or silver. These are ancient perfume vessels from Egypt and Phoenicia. They date 1085 BC to 300 AD. These containers held scented ointments and perfume oils. These are examples of double-ended scent bottles with metal tops. These bottles have a double use. One side is for perfume and the other side is used for smelling salts. In the 1800s, heavy clothing and poor sanitary conditions made it necessary for people to carry a container with a pungent scent to help revive their senses. These bottles shown here date from 1850 to 1890. Here you will see ceramic and porcelain bottles with metal tops. These bottles date 1880 to 1900. They are European and were made to carry in a purse or a large pocket. Notice most of the decoration on the porcelain bottle is hand-painted, or it may have a transfer decoration. Silver bottles, as you see, can be found in some unusual shapes. The mandolin in the center is Dutch, and the bottle on the right, which is decorated with jewels, is from Austria. The little bottle on the left has no markings on the metal to indicate the country of origin, but it's probably American. All of them date 1880 to 1900. Perfume burners are a way to scent a room without electricity. The first two are made of ceramic or porcelain. One is decorated with a horse and buggy pattern, and the other burner with a golden bee pattern. These two containers are made from around 1950 to 1980. They are both made by Lampe-Berger, a company still producing wonderful burners today. The two glass burners on the right are beautiful optic green and cranberry colored glass and date to the 1930s. The country of Bohemia no longer exists, but it was located in Europe near Germany and Austria. It was a center of glass making, and the glass perfume bottles from there are beautiful. Because European glass blowers and glass cutters immigrated to this country to do the same type of glass work, it is often difficult to determine the country of origin if a bottle is not marked. These bottles date from around 1885 to 1890. The three early American glass bottles shown here were made by the Boston and Sandwich Glass Company. There are many books on sandwich glass that will help you determine shapes and colors that were produced by the company. Notice the beautiful colors of the bottles. They all date from around 1840. But the heyday of cut glass was during what is referred to as the Brilliant Period, which is 1885 to 1910. Some of the bottles from this category have metal mountings with hinged tops, and some have glass stoppers. The more elaborate and intricate the cutting of the design is, the more desirable they are to collectors. Here are some additional cut bottles. As with Bohemian glass, European immigrants came to America and continued making the same glass here, which makes it difficult to tell the difference unless the bottle is marked in some way. But a beautiful bottle was desirable no matter what country it comes from. These all date to around 1895 to 1910. These bottles are referred to as silver overlay. After the bottle is blown, a silver company is employed to enhance the bottle with silver decoration, often in elaborate swirl designs. The bottle usually also has a matching stopper with silver on it. Most silver overlay bottles date 1890 to 1920. During the Depression era, from the 1920s through the 1930s, there were American glass makers producing some wonderful high-quality glassware. These glass makers used their creative designers to make lovely and interesting vanity items in order to tempt cash-starved consumers to splurge on their non-essential products. Let's look at a few American perfume bottles from that period. Here are 3 Cambridge glass bottles, all with etched designs. These bottles are made from Westmoreland Glass Company. 2 of them are enhanced with decorative elements. The center bottle has hand-painted flowers and gilding, and the bottle on the right with blue paint applied, and then a design is etched into the glass. Here you will notice the beautiful colors of glass produced by the Tiffin Company. The 2 bottles on the left, though different in style, are both amber glass. One has a frosted surface, the other one is polished. The apple green glass bottle has an elegant shape and a stopper with a long dauber. All 3 of these bottles are made of porcelain. They were made by the same Lenox company that produces the fine china dinnerware. Notice the sweet rabbit in the center and the penguin on the right, which has a black fabric coat with an atomizer bulb underneath the covering. Vinton is a name many are familiar with. The company has produced interesting bottles for many years. The blue one on the left looks like a stopper bottle with its ruffled collar. However, you'll notice that it's an atomizer spray bottle. These beautiful ornate sets are usually made of gilded brass, gilded white metal, or gilded bronze. Some are heavily jeweled with unusual shapes and open metalwork called filigree. The two pictures show examples of two different manufacturers. The picture on the left shows a pair of metal Gildcrest bottles, usually marked with a paper label. On the right, a Silvercraft atomizer from the Farber Brothers of New York. Silvercraft pieces are often marked with pseudo-hallmarks and a model number. Czechoslovakia no longer exists as an individual country. However, it too was a glass-making center in Europe, and the former Bohemia was part of that same area. Wonderful glass bottles were made in Czechoslovakia during the period 1918 to 1938. Notice the beautiful colors and the cuttings of these bottles. The elaborate stoppers are particularly attractive to collectors. Although you can't tell from this photo, these are Czechoslovakian miniature perfume bottles. All are of cut glass from the 1920s and 1930s. To the left is a green mini bottle with a green floral design cut into the stopper. It is 3 3/8 inches tall. In the center is a clear drawn bottle. It has a facet cut ball shape and is 1 7 inches tall. On the right, the blue pyramid-shaped base has a clear stopper and is 2.5 inches tall. Here you will see bottles made by the DeVilbiss Company of Toledo, Ohio. They would commission glass makers from America and Europe to make glass bottles that they then painted, etched, gilded, and mounted with beautiful hardware and an atomizer bulb. The heyday of this elaborate, elegant bottle was from 1920 to 1935, although they did continue making bottles after that period. The DeVilbiss Company is still in existence, but no longer produces perfume bottles. The matching pair of bottles on the left has a soft satin finish on the outside, and a colored glass is on the bottle portion only. Notice one bottle has a stopper with a long dauber for applying the perfume. The mate to it has an atomizer attachment. The small green bottle on the right has a zigzag Art Deco design and lots of gilding. The metalwork on these three bottles are made by DeVilbiss competitors, Garand on either end and Volumte in the center. As with DeVilbiss, these companies only made the hardware. The bottle itself was produced by a different glass company. This category of bottle is referred to as crown tops or porcelain figures. The crown top name comes from the design of the metal sprinkler top shaped as a crown. These bottles were in vogue during the 1920s and 1930s and were produced mainly in Germany and Bavaria, though many other countries also made them. There is an infinite variety of shapes, ladies in different periods of dress, dogs, cats, and many other animals. There are cuddly children, oriental figures, and flowers, and many more. On the left in this photo, you'll see a pensive little Cubie doll, an Art Deco girl decorated with hearts, a man with a bowler hat, and a sweet tiny little teddy bear. Around the 1900s, commercial bottle production became automated and increased the range of styles and shapes. From the 1920s and on through today, bottle design has been very creative with great appeal to collectors. There are many companies, past and present, whose bottles are interesting, beautiful, and unique. In the first photo, you'll see three very classic bottles. On the left, the black bottle with the gold top is by Lavin. The center bottle, shown with its ornate box, is from the company Corone. And to the right, a very familiar bottle by Chanel. The second photo shows three bottles with very interesting presentations. On the left is Yesteryear by Babs. In the center is Evening in Paris by Bourgeois, and on the right is Golden Woods by Max Factor. René Lalique and the company he formed are well known for their beautiful, high-quality glass. Lalique perfume bottles are highly sought after by collectors. Most of the bottles were designed and made for commercial perfume companies. but some were made to be sold in high-end department stores and galleries. On the left, we have a very recognizable bottle with two intertwined doves as a stopper, L'air du Temps by Nina Ricci. In the center is the fragrance Mullinard by the company of the same name. On the right is a bottle inspired by a skyscraper in blue from the Worth Company. Unique bottles from some of the great perfume houses is another interesting category. Here we have bottles by Elsa Schiaparelli. This company is famous for interesting figurals such as the dressmaker dummy bottles for her perfume called Shocking. Most of the commercial companies that produce perfume bottles also created miniature versions. They were either the smallest size in their line or were recreated to give away as samples. Many of collectors love these minis because they are tiny yet true to the original design and because they take up little space. In the photo you will see from the left Shalimar by Guerlain, Jean-Paul Gaultier, Windsong by Prince Machiavelli in its original box, Elizabeth Taylor's Passion, and Poison by Christian Dior. These perfume containers were made to be carried in your purse or large pocket. Some are disposable and some can be refilled. On the left is a blue patterned bottle by Guerlain and held the Shalimar fragrance. The classic black and gold bottle is for Intoxication by D'Orsay, and on the right with a pattern decoration is Arpege by Lavin. Sometimes these bottles were used by the companies for more than one fragrance. During the 1920s and 30s, dime stores carried inexpensive perfumes, often bottled in cute figurals or novel containers. These were especially attractive to children who purchased them as gifts for their mothers and teachers. This first photo is quite unique, shows numerous styles of clocks filled with fragrance, and another selection that shows lamps with small bottles full of perfume incorporated into the design. Avon was previously named the California Perfume Company. It is a brand that everyone knows, and although there are specialty clubs for Avon collectors, many people have them in their collections. With the exception of the little solid perfume frog in the center, which is Estee Lauder, the surrounding pieces are all Avon bottles: a pig, swan, caterpillar, and a mouse with a slinky metal tail. Although most of the focus for perfume bottle collectors is with the bottles from the past, we must not forget about the fabulous bottles being created today. The bottles in this category are referred to as studio art glass and are each individually designed and handcrafted by a glass artist. As you can see from these photos, the designs are unique and very beautiful. Notice the bottle on the left appears to be a flower emerging from a leaf base. The bottle on the right has decorative inclusions in the glass and a branch and a leaf stopper. The tiny bottle in the center has an iridescence similar to Tiffany's Favril glass, but was made by John Gilvry of New York. This fabulous little bottle looks so much like a real orchid. Notice how the stamen portion becomes the removable stopper and dauber. Lipsticks are another collecting category. The tube shape that we are familiar with all started around 1930s. Beautiful and interesting containers were made to be admired and reused over and over again. Refill tubes were sold and were inserted into the fancy containers when the lipstick was empty. These lovely containers have been replaced today by throwaway plastic tubes. Notice the very special lipstick in the center that was made in Italy and is shaped like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. In days gone by, powder compacts were a beautiful way to apply your makeup away from home. Most powder compacts collected today are from the 1930s to the 1950s. The variety of shapes and designs were reflective of the spirit of the time. On the left, we see a lovely blue and white design by the Wedgwood Company. In the center is a simple-looking piece with white enamel and pink flowers in the corner. On the right is a compact in bright colors and a lovely lady with flowing hair. Commercial powder boxes from the early 1900s were designed with beautiful graphics. They were made with images of beautiful women, floral sprays and garland, and beautiful colors. The box in the center with the unique little ring handle attached to the top was made by a French company called Ferry. part of the fragrance line for the perfume companies is the Solid Perfume Compact. Solid Perfume is made from concentrated perfume oil in a melted wax base, and the containers for Solid perfumes are endless. They are unique and small, and collectors love them. On the left is a Max Factor Compact showing a sweet bird hovering over a nest of colorful eggs. In the center is a compact by Corday showing a unicorn on the top. And on the right is a unique Revlon container in the shape of a hippopotamus with round glass eyes. For the past 30 years or more, Estee Lauder has been making unique and beautiful solid perfume compacts such as these seen here. They are a favorite among collectors. From early in the 1900s, companies were making boudoir items in sets. There are usually 2 bottles, a powder box, and sometimes a matching tray. They are meant to sit on a lady's vanity as both decorative and useful items. And of course, they are a great marketing ploy. If you look for perfume bottles, you're likely to try to find the entire showy set, and of course they were right. This beautiful black and white set was made by the Imperial Glass Company and is an Art Deco style. Notice the arch and elegant milky white stoppers on the bottle. These beautiful ornate sets are usually made of gilt brass, gilt white metal, or gilt bronze. Some are heavily jeweled with open metalwork called filigree. This picture shows examples of 2 manufacturers of jeweled vanity items. This first gorgeous set with huge green stones is by the Apollo Silver Company of New York. The use of large jewels being quite typical for this company. They were famous for boudoir item sets such as these and specialty gift items. These pieces were generally marked. The second set consists of a perfume bottle plus a comb, brush, and mirror. It is marked Empire Art Gold by the manufacturer E&J Bass of New York. They manufacture jewelry as well as sterling and silver plated items. Note the lovely use of amber-colored stones to enhance the gilt metalwork. And then there are bottles we dream of owning, the ones that make our heart flutter and make us struggle to catch our breath at the thought of seeing them in our cabinets. This one, an opaque glass bottle in the shape of a Victorian shoe, was made in Czechoslovakia in 1930. Notice the gorgeous metalwork and the green glass gems that enhance its unique shape. Or this wonderful commercial bottle created by René Lalique. It is called Trésors de la Mer, Treasures of the Sea. It is made of opalescent glass in the shape of a giant shell, and the perfume is in the pearl. It was presented in 1939 to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Saks Fifth Avenue. Only 50 of these were made. So how do you learn about collecting perfume bottles? First of all, read books about the perfume bottles. You can find them in a library or on the internet, and the International Perfume Bottle Association has a library available to all of its members. Go to antique shows and ask questions. If you notice a seller with several perfume bottles, chances are he or she can answer your questions with some certainty. You can search for perfume bottle websites on the internet. Usually there's good information to be found there. If nothing else, you'll see some very interesting bottles that you may decide to research on your own. Join a collectors club and go to conventions. Clubs are a great way to meet people who share your interest. It's an easy way to make new and lasting friendships. Sharing your love and enthusiasm for the hobby will enhance your collecting experience and also your life. Conventions provide on-the-spot learning through lectures and small round table group discussions for a more intimate exchange of information, and programs that answer your specific personal questions about your latest bottle discovery. You'll learn as you go. You'll develop that discerning eye you hear collectors and experts talk about. Once you've done a little homework, then just get out and start looking. So where do you hunt for perfume bottles? First of all, try garage sales. If you don't see any bottles, ask the sellers. Sometimes they don't even think to bring them out of their house. Go to estate sales or tag sales. Usually you will find very high-end bottles at these estate sales. Flea markets, there's almost always something there. Consignment or thrift shops, you never know what will turn up here, so check in with them on a regular basis. eBay is a very good source, but make sure you ask a lot of questions, and if you don't get satisfactory answers, move on, don't buy it. Antique shops and malls. Usually the owner of the bottle is not actually at the mall, but the owner of the mall will be happy to contact them and ask any questions for you. Antique shows. Ask questions and you will learn a lot. People who specialize in these bottles are very happy to share. Tell your friends and relatives. It's amazing how many people will help you with your collection. You can go to perfume bottle conventions such as the International Perfume Bottle Association, where you'll find a collector's market for selling and trading with other collectors, a show and sale with professional sellers who specialize in perfume bottles, and an auction, which is a quality high-end production with lots of bottles to bid on. Buy bottles in good condition. And just remember, a damaged bottle will always be a damaged bottle. Buy what you like. Buy what makes your heart flutter when you see it. Don't be overly concerned with buying on the cheap or for investment purposes. Buy what pleases you and what will thrill you tomorrow morning when you awake and see it on your dresser. In closing this presentation, I'd like to leave you with a bit of information. Learning to collect is kind of like learning to ride a bike. First you develop a good sense of balance, then you're off and running. Enjoy.